Uh, be happy to present to you the current status of emergency medicine, disaster preparedness in the Philippines. I'm a professor of emergency medicine. I served as Undersecretary of Health and was in charge of the disaster program the time Typhoon Haiyan and the Bohol earthquake actually came in. So we have plenty of experiences there. I don't think we can. Okay. Thank you. I don't think we have 10 minutes. I don't think the 10 minutes will be enough. But let me talk about the 3 questions that was asked for the email. First is the present status of emergency care system in the Philippines in terms of training and disaster preparedness. The second is the plans to improve the emergency care system. And the third, the future possibility for international collaboration in emergency care, emergency training, and disaster preparedness. A little bit about the Philippines. We're unique because unlike the other countries, the only other country like us is Indonesia. We are an archipelago, 7,107 islands. We've recently implemented universal health care in our system. Although this was a long process, we finally were able to finance it using sin taxes from tobacco. And you see that we're actually second to Singapore in terms of health expenditure in the previous slides. We have 2 systems that are very unique. We have probably the largest private health system for this ASEAN community. So you have to look at the health system as 2 systems, both the public and the private sector. And in 1991, we actually decentralized the public health system, giving primary care and secondary care to local health officials, local chief executives, governors, and mayors. And we have very varied standards in emergency care and preparedness because the archipelago is actually a diverse group of aggregation of countries. So this is a 1927 ambulance in my hospital, the Philippine General Hospital. So this is probably the oldest ambulance, motorized ambulance that I can actually find, just to show it in terms of how old the history of the Philippine medicine is. We have the first Western type medical school, the University of Santo Tomas, established in the 1600s by the Spanish. So that's older than Harvard. And then we have the Americans that came in and established the whole health system, and that's why there are many of the Filipino nurses and doctors actually go to America. The current status, we have for pre-hospital care, we have several parallel units that have actually evolved out of the many years of providing emergency care. We have the largest is the Philippine Society of Emergency Medical Technicians. These are registered EMTs, both basic and intermediate. We have not produced paramedic level. But these ones have been discovered and they're now being exported. We have about over 3,000 members here certified, and many of them have been acquired after the Asian Games in Doha. Now they are being exported to the Middle East. We also have our local government units. As I said, it was devolved. So all of them developed their own local EMS. We have the National Bureau of Fire, which also develops its own EMS. We have the Department of Health, regional hospitals, which also have their own ambulance services for pre-hospital care. And then we have the very large volunteer group of about 1 million volunteers, over 1 million. The Philippine Red Cross, we have an oversupply of nurses. As you know, we supply nurses all over the world. And many of them who have no jobs actually volunteer with the Philippine Red Cross and work in different parts from disaster. And there are other groups, an old one, the Emergency Rescue Unit Foundation of Cebu, which is kind of a public-private partnership, an NGO that partners with local government, getting funds from them to provide EMS service in the Metro Cebu area. As I said, Filipino EMTs are now sought after, and I think some of the EMTs get higher pay than the nurses. So some of those that enter to retrain as EMTs were actually graduates of nursing. So that's a very interesting, unique situation in the Philippines. This is the website of the Philippine Society of EMT, and you can actually go to it or Google it, and you'll see more the information, the curriculum, and the levels and standards we established there. This was established in 1998. For modern emergency medicine for the doctors, we have a very unique situation as well. I think we're the oldest in terms of formal emergency medicine training. We had 2 groups that started out in 1988. The story to me is that they didn't agree on who would be the head. So we ended up with 2. The Philippine Society of Emergency Care Physicians, which is based in the academe, which my professor actually was in, and developed our group. And then the other group was based in a private hospital, the Makati Medical Center in 1988, the Philippine College of Emergency Medicine and Acute Care. We actually tried many years earlier to match it into one society, to unify it. But of course, our seniors prevented us. Eventually, we were able to succeed in unifying it. I was able to actually unify it in 2008. We signed a legal contract like a joint venture. So you're seeing the Filipinos now active in the region and international meetings. We needed to fix the house first before we go around. Our residency program is also in the website. It's like 4 years, 1 year of rotating internship after med school, and 3 years of emergency medicine program. So this is the website. This is the previous president. The president is now Dr. Gabriel. So there is a website for psemph.org. Then there is a separate board that actually certifies. So after you finish training or residency in emergency medicine, so you can see our system is American. So we follow the ASEP curriculum and the ASEP system because our health system is really very American. So the Philippine College of Emergency Medicine created an autonomous body. Faith here is in the Philippine Board of Emergency Medicine. So their function is to accredit the program, residency programs that want to start it. They also administer the specialty board examinations and the in-service. Residents are required to take exams yearly to look at their competence. And if they pass the specialty board, they are conferred diplomate status of the Philippine Board of Emergency Medicine. And after practicing emergency medicine, they become fellows of the Philippine College of Emergency Medicine. Today, as of May, we have 9 fully accredited programs in the Philippines. Several are public, several are also, I think it's a 50-50 split of public and private. What is interesting is other areas of the Philippines are now requesting to start accredited emergency medicine program. We have other hospitals that are still going partial accreditation, and Manila Doctors is where Faith is the head, and it lost a period because of the residents resigned and there was no resident for a whole period. For disaster, our program is really we have a law, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act, patterned after the Yoga Framework of Action. We have a National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, and this flows down to the regional level, to the provincial, the sub-national regional level, provincial, city, municipal, and barangay. This is local. This is the website of the National Disaster Risk, ndrrmc.gov.ph, and all the information you need about the system and how it works is actually in our website. A big thing that's probably not present in most of your countries is the way we do disaster is called the bayanihan concept. It's a word wherein the community actually helps everyone. In the civil society organizations, this is where the Philippines is strong. We have a very broad, multi-sectoral and mass-based endeavor in disaster interventions. And civic organizations of any kind, non-government organizations, religious organizations, social volunteer, and people organizations actually join and respond in times of disaster. And they've become better with better training. This is because of our democratic processes. We allow people to produce this, and because of many disasters happening in the Philippines, there is increased public awareness in terms of involvement in the community. So we follow institutional frameworks, and the Filipino people that do not live, so there's always the idea to volunteer. And we volunteered outside the country, sending teams to Aceh, even to Haiti, and even to Nepal recently. So the civil society follows our frameworks for disaster risk reduction to fill in the gaps that government is unable to take care, especially in additional medical care, search and rescue, even housing, nutrition, and other needs. And it goes to affected areas where the government cannot reach it. The church, the schools, the media, and the professional organizations all contribute. And this is gained because we are really a laboratory of disasters. You name the disaster, we actually have it. And this is the silver lining in the disaster system in the Philippines, the volunteer capacity of the civil society. And if you want to replicate what the Philippines does, survive in an island with volcanoes and typhoons, you probably need to harness the civil society. This is an example of how the civil society is banded together and organized. This is the Philippine Disaster Relief Foundation. So several private companies with their own initial work in disasters actually contribute and collaborate and we use the aircraft of Metro Pacific, the fuel of Shell, the shipping of Aboitiz in terms of presenting. This is the hope that was mentioned before. I helped develop this one, and it's now taught in most of the ASEAN countries. So, do you want me to stop?
So, may I stop? Why? Any question to now? If no any question, so you proceed and then the hands go up.
Okay, so the other slides will be about what we want to improve. For pre-hospital care, it's leadership and governance, also standards and financing and paying for emergency services, and then local health systems strengthening and correcting the problem of brain drain. For emergency physicians, our vision is to have certified emergency physicians in every emergency department in all public and private hospitals. And for disasters, we're now looking at building back better, resilience, capacity building, logistics supply management, research and innovation for technology in international collaboration. The future for international collaboration, let me give you my word. I was in charge of 158 foreign medical teams that descended upon the Visayas after Typhoon Haiyan. This is the type of reports I get from my people. It's a twice daily geographic information system and classification of international teams. The FMT classification was used for the first time during Typhoon Haiyan. This is a WHO theoretical framework of how to classify foreign teams. For the first time, it was used in the Philippines, and it helped me a lot as the head of the foreign international collaboration team, or the health cluster, to classify whether you're a foreign team 1, 2, or 3, and deploy you to the needed area. So I think, yes, we need the international collaboration. I'd really like to see classification of disaster teams, pre-registration of disaster teams in the region, in ASEAN, coordinations with the host government, pre-arranged coordination and collaboration with ASEAN groups, and even review and rating or certification or accreditation of these disaster teams, and probably, hopefully, ASEAN disaster risk reduction. I think my end of the slide is that I'm welcoming you all to come to the Philippines. Most of our sessions are in English, our conferences are in English, so all the countries that want to improve their systems in emergency care, it's really more fun in the Philippines. That's me with the president in one of the disaster meetings. Thank you very much.
Okay, any question?
There.
So, Ato, you have a question? You raise your hand or no?
I just want to know how many emergency physicians you have in your country now?
514 is the current number for the certified. We have 130 taking exams every year for each one. So I think this will grow because many programs are requesting. In fact, what our problem is in the society, in the Philippine College, is that we cannot supply the number of programs because you need a certain number of certified professors that will teach it before you can. So many of them are working also, so that's our critical mass, the development of.
Are you still producing those who are not trained as emergency physicians? You have that?
Yes.
Yeah, also.
Yes. So now, in places, in emergency departments where they are not filled yet, what we field are either family physician, internal medicine, or general surgery graduates that become either head of that department. But eventually, as the other countries will know, they will gravitate and create their own residency programs. So they have orthopedics people, general surgery people running emergency departments.
Okay. So before we're going to have 15-minute coffee break, we will have a presentation by Myanmar.
Yes.
Yes, please.